twisted path to renown is hard. I've gotten killed by AI in this game probably as much or more as I have by other players. While playing solo is much more difficult, you can take points of interest. One of my favorite weapons to do this with, to even my own surprise, has been the 2x scope musketoon. In my opinion, this is one of the most slept on PvE weapons in the game. It can even do work in PvP if you can hit your one and only shot that you're likely to get off during the entire fight. But I digress. Today we're going to be doing dead shots. Here is my entire inventory and what I like to bring when I plan on solo taking a point of interest. Meds, plenty of ammo, a powerful sidearm, a scoped weapon, preferably one that's extremely accurate, and food that either buffs or provides no negative effects. Next, before I go in, I like to try and check for possible extracts. I recommend having a strategy going in. This is why I will usually bring in a cigar or a leather bracelet, rope, or a player cross if I'm doing a run like this. Those extracts tend to have less foot traffic and be a bit safer in my experience. Finally, you're going to see me play this pretty slow and methodically. I haven't found much success in trying to brute force Deadshot or really any other major point of interest in this game. He can one-shot you basically from across the encampment. So you're going to see me shooting, ducking, and repositioning like a madman. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Here, you can see me scouting to make sure that 1, all the NPCs are alive, and 2, that no players are around. You'll also notice that I make sure that the NPCs are completely stopped before I ever take a shot. 1, I don't want to waste the ammo, and 2, we want to get this done as quickly as possible so that we don't get third-partied. One mistake I see players make a lot when they're playing solo is they're not displacing far enough. So a lot of players will try to re-peek that same hill. We're actually going to go to a completely different little knoll here before we try to re-peek any of the NPCs down in the encampment below. Here you see me kind of prodding and inching forward. I'm looking here at the bottom right just to make sure that I'm not seeing any question marks or exclamation points. Just making sure that I'm not incurring any aggro from these NPCs below. Here I want to make sure that I get to cover, so I don't even reload until I'm a little ways away. And this is something you probably already know, but just for those who don't, you always want to holster your weapon because you run way faster if you do. Since you guys have already seen how I reposition, I'll go ahead and speed this up just a little bit until we get to the next shot. This right here is really what you want. Ideally, you want to be out of their aggro before they even take a shot. With Deadshot himself, you want to be really careful. He will essentially speed hack across his little encampment and can one-shot you if you don't play it right. Honestly, even sometimes if you do play it right. You'll notice I'm lingering on these clusters of brush. Deadshot likes to hide here, and it's almost impossible to see him. But I've died to him enough from in there that I always like to check. Headshots are king, even versus AI. It helps cut down the number of shots other players will hear and the time you have to linger. But that's basically it. From here, I'll speed up the looting so you can see the 3 main spots that I know of, the main house and each tent. I also like to loot all the 45 I can from the AI, and sometimes even a gun or two. My only real tips for when you're done are to watch for other players. Obviously, this is when you're at your most vulnerable. Try to loot fast. By this I mean have an idea of what you're looking for before you even try to take a point of interest like this. That way you aren't wrestling with any ideas of what you want to take while you're standing still looting. Finally, check for extracts while you're in cover. See if anything's changed since before you started. Figure out how you want to rotate, and eat all of the apples that you can that are in the main little shack. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope this helps. Don't beat yourself up if you fumble a few times. I definitely died a bunch before I got it. I had a few heartbreakers where I took out 90% of the camp and then Deadshot just 1 or 2 shot me. Or I got third party by a duo and lost it all. Just remember that loot comes and goes, and you'll always have another chance to give it another shot. Oh, I almost forgot. This musketoon is something that I got from smaller bandit bosses that spawn around the map. One at Caravan Camp, one at Fort Dixon, and a few that just randomly spawn around the map. I haven't seen any rhyme or reason to it, but yeah, they're definitely out there. And for anyone curious about XP or Renown, you actually don't get much of either from doing Deadshots and bailing. So I found taking out the little smaller bandit patrols seems to be way safer and much more efficient. Anyway, I'm Crank Lopez, I have crippling attention deficit disorder, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.